Capital, conversations about purpose and the art of living. I just wanted to put something out there about Immanuel Kant. He was credited, or has been credited, for being the person who created a potential synthesis between British empiricism and continental realism. For those of you who don't know who he is, I will at some stage go into this in much more detail, but he created this kind of idea of the synthetic a priori. Sounds helplessly complicated, isn't it? But synthetic means just a combination of different elements, and a priori means before experience, as it were, as a product of our nature. And there's been a big debate about whether there is even such a thing as a priori, let alone synthetic a priori. And the classical Kant example is the mathematical proposition of 5 plus 7 equals 12. And the reason why that's synthetic is joining two things together, 5 and 12 and 7. It's making a third thing, so it's synthetic. But it's a priori because 5 and 7 is not contained in 12. We have to intuit or know that 12 is a product of 5 and 7. It could also be a product of 11 and 1 and 10 and 2 and 9 and 3 and so on and so forth. So that's one of the Kantian claims. Anyway, that's not why I'm here. I'm not talking about the synthetic a priori, though I will do in due course. Where Kant kind of like fell down for me in his attempt to create this synthesis between British empiricism or empiricism and continental realism was in his assertion that you can't know the thing in itself. Right, so you take a tree. The British empiricist will say the tree is only knowable through experience. Broadly, though there are strands of this, and there will be people out there who would disagree with me, but broadly this is that the knowledge of the thing, tree, comes to us through our senses, through our sight, our touch, our sense of smell, our sense of hearing, and that's it. We learn it. We learn about it by feeling it, touching it, seeing it, smelling it, hearing it, and in this process we come to know it. Kant said that's wrong, that we have to have some categories of understanding. There are 12, but the main the two kind of fundamental ones, the ones that still stick with me, are the categories of space and time that are not themselves subject to experience. So the tree has to exist in a space, but we can't know the spaces because they're vast. It's the cosmos. We don't know. We know the local expression of the space, but we don't know the space as such. And the same for time. We know our own experience of time, looking at a clock, marking the sun going around the dial or whatever, but we don't know time, which is purported to be 13.4 billion years for this universe, but could be much more. We don't really know what space-time is, other than from the Einsteinian perspective it is the major governing principle of our existence and therefore our knowledge. Anyway, so Kant is saying against empiricism that we have these categories, and there are other ones, categories of relationship, of extension, of proportionality, of quantity and quality, and so on and so forth. But the point being is that his kind of like departure from the British empiricist perspective and his adherence to a realist perspective is to see that the categories of understanding are, as it were, themselves a priori. They are products of who we are as a species. But where he kind of backtracked, my judgment, is he said that even with this fusion of the empirical, the senses, the sensory, and the categorical, space and time, etc., etc., we can't know the thing in itself. I'm not actually 100% sure what he means by that, but I can guess that what he means by that is that when you look at a thing, and objects in the world are a case in point, but there are many other things, even when you look at like the relationship between a man and a woman, or a man and a man, a woman and a woman, a man and a child. What you can discern from that using your faculties of reason and your empirical markers, as it were, only takes you so far. In terms of an object, the tree or a chair or the continental drifts on the planet Earth, you don't see the underlying kind of like reality of that thing. You don't see the molecular, atomic, space-time compositions of the thing. You don't see the vibrations that make up the molecular environment. You don't see the fusion of protons, leptons, quarks, neurons that through their own dance, their own wave patterns of interconnectivity, of appearance and disappearance, of the singularity of relationships at a distance. You don't see any of that. All you see is the kind of like surface of it. So you don't know and can never know the thing itself. Now, I just think this is a hugely disappointing kind of lack of confidence on the part of Kant, and I will, as we go forward, argue strongly against this idea. But for now, I just want to put down a few markers about how the contrary is true. You take a tree, and you can't see its roots. You can't see the mycelium. You can't see the whole universe. And believe me, it's a universe of biodiversity and symbiotic relationships between bacteria, fungi, exchanging properties that are of benefit to the tree, or the tree in turn returning sustenance to the mitochondria, mycelia, and the bacteria, the organisms, the microscopically small forms, all engaging and connecting and contributing to the rotting down, the distribution, the absorption of and vast amounts of exchange of chemicals and constituencies in the air and gases and everything else. It's an extraordinary vast terrain of a biological, physical and subatomic dance. You don't see that, but you can, is my point. If you pay attention, if you get behind your microscope, if you look at historical accounts, if you do your research, you can actually find out, and you can find out as much as you need to know. So the thing in itself is a chimera. It's a shadow. It doesn't have any substance. It's a kind of like just failure to grasp the nature of reality. After Kant, there were Husserl and phenomenology, looking at the concrete manifestation of reality and those sorts of things, which kind of like dissed Kant to a certain extent. But as Kant was, even though as an aside he was a bit of a racist, but who wasn't back in the day, no excuse, but there you go. It's just the fact that he regarded people who are black as being subordinate to people who are white. The thing in itself, in my judgment, has no analytical or philosophical validity.